Oh, it's on. Hello. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome. So, I am actually frivolously. I'm very excited to introduce my newest painting series that I have created. So, with this series, I would really like to explain each painting and what it means, what my idea was behind it, and how it's all a part of the same process, how it's all part of one process. So this is my first painting. I'm really happy about it. I actually originally sketched this concept in high school, and I just found it recently, and I actually finally added color to it. So this was a long time coming, and I really like how it came out. But this painting is about the first step of what I call the self-actualization series. And it's clearly not the happiest part of life, but I'm really excited to talk about it and to explain what I was trying to express in this painting and what the idea and the concept was behind it. Okay, let's get into it. Ooh. So, is this still recording? Okay, cool. So the self-actualization series that I painted, self-actualization, let's first begin with that, with explaining what that is. Self-actualization is the process of coming to understand your full potential, and recognizing that you are limitless and that you have, just recognizing the power that you have within you and how limitless you are. And to get to that point of recognition, a lot of times it takes different stages to get there. It's a process. And with this series, I really wanted to explain that process and to explain what each stage is like. Because maybe you're in one of these stages and maybe it feels like, you might be there forever, or maybe that's all there is. But I'm here to tell you that there is so much more. And I really hope to help spread the feeling of being seen with these paintings and to really help express to everyone that there is just so much more to, like, nothing is permanent. No matter, like, the stage that we're in life, how we're feeling, it's never permanent, no matter how permanent it may feel. This self-actualization series is actually a 5-part series. I have 5 paintings that talk about the 5 main stages of self-actualization. And so this is the first stage. So this is disconnection. This is disconnection from the world, disconnection from self, and feeling like you're in a desolate, isolating, lonely, mucky, plucky, gray place. And it's not fun. It's not a fun place to be, but it's essential for getting to where you're trying to go. As you can see, I have this child that's standing in the middle, well, there's a child standing in the middle of the ocean and looking just very sad, very lonely, and I don't know if you can see it, but there are all of these posts on this child's head. I was originally going for creating telephone poles, but it kind of turned out to look a little more like crosses, but that's okay. So yeah, these were originally supposed to be telephone poles, though if you see crosses, then that's okay. That's valid too. I feel so official with a little mic and nice lighting and a plant and a little easel. Like, oh my gosh, I'm an artiste. But okay, let me get into my notes. So, disconnection can feel inescapable, but challenges aren't here to bring us down. It's to teach us something so that we can elevate. So something I wanted to express with this painting was how being in a place of complete disconnection from the self makes you feel disconnected from those around you. And it can feel really like, it can feel mucky and sticky and like there's no escape. Like, how do I get out of this? How do I feel joy again? How do I feel like myself again? And why do things feel stagnant and like, ew? Something else I wrote in my notes was dark times are a vulnerable place to be and can feel really lonely and desolate. Kind of like you're in the middle of the ocean at night alone and don't know which way to go or what to do or how to return back to land. It can be easy to give up sometimes and surrender to that deep darkness or sadness. But nothing will change if you do nothing. Sadness is willing to stay with you forever if you decide to submit to it forever. But this doesn't have to be permanent. And so to comment on those notes, being in that place can feel really like, OMG, how do I get out? But the way out lies in something that I think we overlook a lot. In these situations, it's important to remember that help or escape is always on the other side of saying yes to that small whisper of intuition. So I think a lot of times we can hear what we need to do within, but sometimes we don't take it seriously. Like, if I'm getting personal about it, I know for me, last winter, I was definitely in this place. I was definitely in this mucky, stucky place of just feeling so stagnant, like nothing was moving, and I was trying my best to apply to different art opportunities and to do my best to really put myself out there and create more income, create more, like build a bigger audience with my art and really try to take my art seriously. And it felt like nothing was landing and things were just stagnant no matter how hard I tried, no matter how creative I got. Like, it just felt like nothing was moving and I didn't understand what I was doing wrong or why this was happening. And it felt kind of like being in a cyclical loop of a curse almost. Like, well, how do I escape it? And I do feel like I did escape it. And at this point, when I look back at how I did it, it just took saying yes to the small voice of my intuition, or what I like to call the voice of God. And for me, it was something so simple. Like, I remember I was sitting on the couch one day just thinking about all of these things that I was like upset weren't happening in my life. And I remember just sitting there and just putting out a prayer and being like, what do I need to do to change? Like, I'm willing to do it. I just need some type of direction, some type of instruction, some type of guidance. Like, help me, help me. And I just remember, for me, when God talks to me, it's like a knowing is downloaded into my brain. And it's a knowing that is in a voice that I know is not mine. Like, I'm not physically hearing it. It's just like, it just feels like a knowing is downloaded into my brain. But it's not the character of the voice, and like the things those downloads express to me are not things that I typically express to myself or things that I typically think of. So I remember I was on the couch this day and I just got the download of like, hey, go and record a podcast. And I was like, I was super cozy under my heated blanket watching one of my favorite shows at the moment, Lost. And just like being super cozy. I had my tea next to me, I had my snacks, and I just received this download of like, go make a podcast. And I remember I just paused the show and I was like, right now, like, I'm cozy. And then I just heard it again, like, go make the podcast. And these were things that would happen to me like consistently, but I wasn't taking it seriously. I just thought maybe I was coming up with an idea or something and I would be like, oh, I'll do that later. I have bigger fish to fry. Like, let me go apply to some jobs. Let me go work on my resume. Let me go build my portfolio. And I just didn't come to recognize that the answer I kept asking for was already being given to me. I just wasn't taking it seriously. And so I sat there and I was like, you know what? Insanity is repeating the same thing over and over. If I'm asking for an answer and just praying for an answer and then I finally get something, why don't I just try? Why don't I just put it out there? Let me just attempt to take it seriously and see what it does for me. And so I was like, you know what? I'm never gonna escape feeling like this. if I don't try something new. Even if I don't fully understand what is being downloaded within me to do, I'm just gonna listen to my intuition and just try it anyway. I literally have nothing to lose. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna change my behavior. So I got up. It took a while though. It took a while, but I got up. So I was real cozy, and I stopped the show. I was like, I could do this anytime. I could watch this show whenever. I can be under these blankets, sipping this tea, eating these snacks whenever. So I got all my stuff. So I left. Oh, I left the couch and I went to my room. I fixed things up a little bit to look nice, and I made me a little podcast episode. And I remember the feeling of recording that podcast and feeling like I finally just received the answer I've been asking for months, almost a year and like at that point, like I hadn't created something in months. Like my creativity was like non-existent or like the act of creating, I wasn't doing it much. I was more or less just like doing my best. Just trying to like figure out how to make income from my art versus like focusing on the art and letting the income come to me. And so I recorded the podcast episode, and afterward I just remember feeling like this weight of stagnancy lifted. It felt like my creativity was this stream, and there had been a bunch of rocks and muck in it, and I couldn't figure out like how to get it out. And after I created that podcast episode, I felt the stream of creativity. I felt those rocks being lifted out of that stream. Or at the moment, it felt like maybe one or two rocks were lifted, but like water was finally able to flow through. And that's the best way I could explain the feeling. And then after that, I went on to create my whole painting series that I'm talking about now. And it just really helped me to remember that like, even though creativity is sometimes not a linear process, it still has the ability to come full circle if you stick with it. Like, I painted this series a while ago, months ago actually, and I'm just now doing, recording this video about it and explaining it and finally uploading it. But I stuck with it and I'm still doing it no matter how much time has went past. But anyway, getting back to the story. So yeah, I recorded the podcast and I just felt this liftedness, and afterward I realized how important it was to create consistently. And I know people talk about create every day, do something every day, keep it going. And I wasn't taking that as super seriously because like that wasn't my reality. But I was creating like every other day. Or definitely I was at least creating, because it had been months beforehand, it had been months since I had created something. And I just felt so proud and so like grateful, and just like, wow, that's all it took. It just took saying yes to that small whisper of intuition. And I'm like, I really could have just said, no, I don't feel like it. And I could still be in that place that I was at and have never created this series and never be creating these videos and never just have that change that I was asking for, all because I didn't say yes to the small whisper of intuition. And yeah, since then, like, since I said yes to creating that podcast, I've just been creating like consistently since then. And that I came to recognize that this season of disconnection was actually really important for me to recognize just what life can feel like when I am stagnant in the sense of not creating. And I didn't realize that stagnancy that I was experiencing, that ucky blucky mucky feeling, was from not creating. I thought it was because like I was having financial problems, or like I couldn't find anywhere to work, or I didn't have like things that I wanted. But I came to realize that feeling was coming from just the lack of creating. And as an artist and a creative, it helped me to really realize how important this is and how important it is to create consistently. And it created like, not a fear, but I now understand, like, okay, I need to be creating consistently because I don't want to go back to that place. That's a nasty place. Or feel okay, whoa. Whoa. Okay, I won't say it's a nasty place, but it feels real nasty and it feels really so I've just come to understand how important it is for me to not return to this place. And if creativity is what I need to stay out of here, then I'm gonna do my best to create. So that was my little story, or my little testimony about how I escaped from feeling like this. And everyone's is different, you know. Everyone's intuition talks to them differently. Everyone receives information from God differently. And when I say God, for me, I define God as the being of love. Like, God is love, and love, you know, is love and creativity to me are just channeling direct messages from God. Everyone communicates differently, even if it's with the divine. And for someone who might be going through this, you know, it might not be create a podcast. It might be something else. Maybe it's go on a long walk. Maybe it's, oh, like, go to an open mic and get inspired. It's so different for everyone. So yeah, that's hopefully that story can help somebody to understand, you know, how that there is escape. But what's really important that I want to put out there is that this feeling like this is never forever unless you choose for it to be forever. It's always a choice. I had the choice to say, no, I'm gonna sit here and watch the rest of my show and not act on that creative impulse. And I could, like I said, I could still be where I was, but I'm just really so grateful that I chose not to do it. Even though dark times don't last forever if you choose, dark times can be cyclical. But each time it comes around, it is for us to see how our growth, but each time it comes around is for us to see our growth and also to add to an ongoing lesson. Dark times can cause for us to be in situations that evoke change and creativity that we would not have thought of without these tough times. For me, I wouldn't exactly say dark times, that's kind of just what I said in my notes, but we can say disconnection, right? Like, replace dark times with disconnection. So, like, disconnection doesn't last forever, but it can be cyclical. So for me, I recently just came out of a very small era of disconnection where I was trying to make this video. I was trying to make this video for quite a while, and I wasn't making it. And I finally found it in me to do it today, and I'm really grateful that I did. But like this, even though like you can feel like this and come out of it, this can come back and you can feel like this again, like just out of nowhere. And that's okay. But it's important to remember that, like, when we return to this, it's for us to learn something new. There's something new we need to learn about that. It's not that we did something bad, like, for if we find ourselves in this place. It's more of like, hey, okay, so it's time for the second chapter of the lesson. That's kind of how I see it, and that's been helpful to me, so hopefully it's helpful to someone else. Oh crap, the camera has 1 more minute of storage. Oh my goodness. What else do I want to talk about? Oh yeah, so when we are in places like this, it also is to help us to learn how to do things. It's to bring us ideas that we would have never have thought, right? So when we're feeling like this, when we're feeling this disconnection, it's like, wow, okay, let me try something I didn't try before to get out of this, because what was working before isn't working now. And every season is so different. I don't know if I would have made, like, the podcast episode I made was about feeling stagnant. I would have never created that if I didn't experience stagnancy. So that's a good example of what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so this is my little explanation of my painting Disconnection. And I will be back with the next painting and the next stage of self-actualization very soon. Thanks for watching.